let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to your high school days. I think there's kind of an interesting thing to talk about here is your high school. You weren't the only good player on your high school team.
Mm-mm.
There's a couple other guys that are in the league now, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got Max Fried and Jack Flaherty, two big names in the league right now, on the Braves and the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. Those guys, grew up with them, playing baseball at Harvard Westlake down in North Hollywood, California. Mm-hmm. Max actually transferred over his senior year. He was at a school called Montclair Prep, and they ended up canceling. I think they were running out of money, and they ended up canceling all their sports programs right before his senior year.
Oh, wow.
So that's not very good for a guy that's looking to get drafted in the first round, not having a baseball team anymore. I was already very good friends with Max from all the summer circuit stuff, and I was like, hey man, apply to Harvard Westlake. I'm sure that we can make something happen. Sure enough, he gets in. We were in all the same classes together senior year, same exact schedule. And then Jack was actually 2 years younger than us. Okay. So he was a sophomore at the time while we were seniors. And pretty much the goal was to win everything that year. Didn't work out that way. Ended up hurting my elbow. I want to say it was my third start of the season.
Okay.
But the team, despite me going down, that really allowed for Jack to step up in the starting pitching role in league play. He started to develop a lot. Max had a great season, ended up being the 7th overall pick. And the Nationals picked me 16th. They didn't care about the elbow. They had a guy named Steven Strasburg that recovered pretty well from Tommy John.
He did just fine.
Yeah, so they were like, hey, we'll take a gamble on this kid, and luckily it's worked out.
So that was kind of an interesting thing, though, right? Because I think the story I've heard is that potentially you were going to be drafted a little bit higher. And then the elbow injury happened at kind of a tough time. So you're going through rehab as you're going through the draft process, and then your kind of beginning of pro ball is started on the shelf. What was that like? Yeah,
the rehabbing in high school, basically it was a tear in my UCL, but it wasn't a full tear. So the recommendation was PRP and physical therapy, try and rehab it back. That was pretty much the only option, because if I had gone under the knife, that probably would have killed my draft stock.
Right.
So I got 3 different sets of PRP injections, started on a rehab throwing program, rehab strengthening program for the shoulder and elbow and everything. And I had good days and bad days. As it got closer and closer to the draft, I actually scheduled long toss throwing sessions where scouts would come just to watch me throw, to see if I was feeling good, if the ball was coming out good.
Wow.
And I'd be going out there to 200, 250 feet, throwing a ball and just being like,
yes, indeed.
So I'm good, guys. I'm all right.
No problem.
And so, like I said before, Nationals didn't care. They literally were like, hey, you end up blowing out and getting Tommy John, don't worry about it. We got it. So
18-year-old kid, there's tons of time.
Yeah, so I fell to 16th. It was looking like I could have been a top 3 pick if I didn't get hurt. I was throwing very hard, a lot harder than I throw now. My curveball was kind of Glasnow-esque at the time. I'm actually a completely different pitcher now than I was in high school, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, end up working out, getting drafted, continued on the rehab program, built up to be able to pitch in games. And in my first professional start, on my 11th pitch of the inning, it went completely.
Oh,
so
wow, that is
that's a rocky road.
That's a brutal start.
Yeah.
Okay.
You never want to end up in the training room, and especially early on that. But, at least obviously they took care of you, and here you are. So
I think it probably helped that they, like they said, they didn't care. If it was another situation, I'm sure that could have been a more nerve-wracking scenario.
Yeah, I had conversations. I remember before I even made that start and blew out completely, I had conversations with our rehab pitching coordinator and with our the head athletic trainer in the Florida facility, where it was it doesn't feel that good. And they're like, well, just keep going along. Either it's going to get better or it's not. And if it doesn't, you get surgery and then you'll be fine. And I'm like, all right. I guess.
You say.
Yeah. That's tough to take, but so it's true.
Yeah,
it's
really
true
true.
part of the process. Is it at that stage and that focus in your sport and your athletic career that, you got to get out there and give it a go. And the good thing about this surgery is there is a winning strategy.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
Strategy,
fixable
yeah.
there's a fixable option.